Imagine a world long past, a landscape dominated by colossal creatures. Here, amongst the giant ferns and towering conifers of the late Cretaceous, roamed a remarkable animal. This was a living fortress, a walking bastion of bone and sinew. We call it Ankylosaurus. It was not the largest dinosaur of its time, nor was it the fastest. But what it lacked in size or speed, it more than made up for in sheer, unyielding defense. This creature was built like a tank, a testament to nature's ingenuity in the age-old contest between predator and prey. Its very name, meaning fused lizard, hints at the incredible structure that made it so formidable. The first impression of an Ankylosaurus would have been one of immense weight and solidity. It moved low to the ground, its broad, heavy body carried on four surprisingly short but powerful legs. Unlike the swift, bipedal hunters it shared its world with, Ankylosaurus was a slow, deliberate mover. Every step was a testament to the colossal burden of its own protection. This was a creature designed not for the chase, but for the stand. It lumbered through the ancient floodplains of what is now North America, a slow-moving mountain of armor that presented an almost impossible challenge for even the most fearsome predators of the era. This animal's silhouette was unmistakable, a wide, flattened dome of a body that seemed to hug the earth. It was as if a giant stony shield had been given life and sent to wander the prehistoric wilderness. Its head was also broad and triangular, protected by fused plates of bone, and its eyes were set deep, looking out from within this bony helmet. Its very posture suggested a creature that was perpetually on guard, ready for an attack from any direction. The sheer breadth of its body made it incredibly stable, a difficult target to overturn, which was a crucial element of its defensive strategy against large, powerful hunters. The name fused lizard is wonderfully descriptive. This fusion of bone was the key to its survival. Its skeleton was a marvel of reinforcement, with vertebrae in its back and tail fused together to support the immense weight of its armor, and to provide a rigid, powerful base for its tail. This internal scaffolding was just as important as the external plating. It created a solid chassis upon which its incredible defensive weaponry was built. This internal strength, combined with its external shield, made the Ankylosaurus one of the most well-protected animals ever to have walked the earth, a true masterpiece of natural engineering. The most striking feature of the Ankylosaurus was, without a doubt, its extraordinary body armor. Its entire back and sides were covered in an intricate mosaic of bony plates known as osteoderms. These were not simply scales, they were thick, robust plates of bone embedded directly into the skin, forming a near-impenetrable shield. This armor was arranged in rows of large, flat plates interspersed with smaller, rounder nodules that filled in the gaps. It created a flexible yet incredibly tough covering, like a suit of medieval plate mail designed by nature itself, capable of deflecting the teeth and claws of the era's apex predators. This defensive covering extended from the top of its head right down to the tip of its tail. Even its eyelids were bony, two small shutters that could slide down to protect its vulnerable eyes from attack. It was a complete, head-to-toe solution for survival. A predator, such as the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex, would have found very few weak points to exploit. Biting down on the back of an Ankylosaurus would be like biting a stone-paved road. This comprehensive armor plating meant that the animal could simply hunker down, tucking its less protected limbs beneath its body, and wait for a frustrated attacker to give up and move on. However, the Ankylosaurus was not merely a passive defender. It possessed a truly formidable weapon at the end of its powerful tail. Here, several of the final vertebrae were fused together to form a stiff, handle-like rod. At the very end of this rod were two massive, interlocking osteoderms that formed a huge, heavy club of solid bone. This was not a decorative feature, it was a devastating weapon. The sheer weight of this club, combined with the powerful muscles at the base of the tail, meant that an Ankylosaurus could swing it with tremendous force, aiming for the legs and ankles of an attacker. A well-aimed blow from this tail club could have been catastrophic. It was certainly capable of shattering bone, crippling even a giant predator like a T-Rex. The force of the impact would have been immense, a blunt force trauma that could disable a hunter and end a confrontation decisively. The tail acted as a counterbalance and a deterrent, a clear signal to any carnivore that an attack on this armored herbivore would come at a very high price. This combination of passive armor and active weaponry made Ankylosaurus one of the most successful defensive specialists in the history of life on our planet. Despite its fearsome appearance, the Ankylosaurus was a peaceful animal. Its days were not spent in combat, but in the quiet pursuit of food. It was a herbivore, a plant eater that spent most of its waking hours grazing. Its low-slung body was perfectly adapted for browsing on low-growing vegetation. It would have moved slowly through the undergrowth, its broad, beak-like mouth snipping away at ferns, cycads, and the flowering plants that were becoming more common during the late Cretaceous. It was a bulk feeder, consuming large quantities of plant matter to fuel its large body and sustain the growth of its heavy armor. The teeth of Ankylosaurus were small and leaf-shaped, not designed for heavy grinding but for simply slicing through vegetation. It likely did not chew its food extensively. Instead, it would have relied on a large, complex digestive system to break down the tough plant fibers. Great fermentation chambers in its gut, similar to those found in modern cows, would have slowly processed the vast amounts of foliage it consumed each day. This slow, steady process of eating and digesting defined its daily routine. It was a life of quiet foraging, punctuated only by the need to remain ever watchful for the dangers that lurked in its prehistoric world. Its behavior was likely solitary for the most part. Given its incredible defensive capabilities, it had little need for the protection of a herd. An adult Ankylosaurus was a fortress unto itself. However, we cannot be certain. It is possible they moved in small family groups or loose associations, wandering the same feeding grounds. The primary interaction it would have had with other large dinosaurs would have been defensive. When confronted by a predator, its instinct would have been to stop, plant its feet firmly, and present its armored back, readying its tail club as a potent warning to any creature that dared to come too close. This contrast between its peaceful lifestyle and its brutal defensive potential is what makes the Ankylosaurus so fascinating. It was not an aggressor. It did not hunt or seek out conflict. Its entire suite of incredible adaptations was purely for self-preservation. It was an animal that simply wanted to be left alone to eat its fill of ferns. But in a world inhabited by some of the largest and most powerful carnivores ever known, being left alone required having one of the most effective defensive systems ever to evolve. Its life was a testament to the idea that sometimes, the best defense is an unbreakable defense. The Ankylosaurus lived during a truly dramatic period in Earth's history. It roamed the western interior of North America during the very end of the late Cretaceous period, approximately 68 to 66 million years ago. This was the final chapter of the Age of Dinosaurs, a time just before the catastrophic asteroid impact that would change the world forever. The environment it inhabited was a warm, humid coastal plain, crisscrossed by rivers and lush with vegetation. It was a world teeming with life, a vibrant ecosystem filled with a diverse cast of dinosaurs and other creatures. This landscape, known to paleontologists as the Hell Creek Formation, was a place of both great abundance and great danger. Ankylosaurus shared this world with other famous herbivores such as the horned Triceratops and the duck-billed Edmontosaurus. These animals formed the foundation of the food web, vast herds of plant eaters that supported a fearsome array of predators. The undisputed king of this domain was, of course, Tyrannosaurus rex. It was this giant carnivore that posed the greatest threat to an Ankylosaurus, and it was against this specific predator that its armor and tail club were most likely tested. Fossil remains of Ankylosaurus are surprisingly rare, far less common than those of its contemporaries like Triceratops or T-Rex. This suggests that it may have preferred specific habitats away from the main river systems where most fossils are preserved, or that it was simply not as numerous as other herbivores. What we do find tells a story of a robust and highly successful animal. The discovery of its fused armor plates, its thick skull, and of course its incredible tail club, allows us to piece together a picture of this unique creature and its place in one of the most famous prehistoric ecosystems of all time. In the grand tapestry of dinosaur evolution, Ankylosaurus stands out as a true specialist. It represents the pinnacle of armored dinosaur development, a culmination of millions of years of evolutionary pressure. It was a creature that met the challenge of survival with an ingenious solution. It became an almost invulnerable walking fortress. While the swift hunters and the colossal sauropods often capture the imagination, the slow, steady, and unbreakably tough Ankylosaurus holds a special and well-deserved place in the story of life on Earth. It was the ultimate survivor, the armored titan of the Cretaceous.